Right, well, good evening once again. You knew I wouldn't stay away, didn't you? Tantrum over, and I do apologise for that. But I love it, really. Of course I do. All it takes is a cup of tea in my mug. Do you like my mug? Awesome. And come back to it again and have another look. And things never look quite so bad. Look on the bright side. So, the bright side is I had to take the fuel tank out. Fantastic. Fuel tank's in good shape, which is good because I thought it was a bit. I'm not going to swear. I'm not going to do any more swearing on these videos, okay? So the fuel tank is in good shape. I thought it was knackered, but it was all just corrosion that had fallen down from on top of the van onto it. Up underneath where I was crying about the other day, new grinder. We've got ourselves a new grinder. Fantastic. Isn't so bad either. It's not so bad. And all I did is I went around it with a grinder. It was all surface. So I've just gone and plastered I've ground it all off, ground all of the rusty bits off. Nothing's gone through. Everything's pretty solid. And yeah, just plastered it all in some wax oil undersill, which is good because it kind of needed to be done anyway. The clutch pipe, you can see I've bent it back there out of the way. I had to replace that because I only breathed on it and it started leaking anyway. So if I hadn't have replaced it now, it probably would have let me go down going down the road. And the handbrake, same with the handbrake cable. I wouldn't have known that it was knackered had I not taken the fuel pump out. Fuel tank. So what have I done? I've cleaned all of that under there. I'm not going to crawl under it just yet, but we'll see it while it goes back together, I'm sure. Cleaned all of that, given it a coat of wax oil, so that's nicely sealed. I spent a load of money then. So I bought, what have I bought? I bought front discs, front back plates, front pads, caliper for the driver's side, handbrake cable, another couple of sheets of metal, thicker stuff this time, for doing some of the welding that we're going to do in a moment. New grinder, and there's more things. But I think, yeah, I spent a lot of money that I haven't got. But what I have done, or what I think I've done, is I think I've bought everything I need to finish off underneath the front end of the bus. So by the time I've managed to fit all of the bits that I've got at the minute, I reckon we'll be able to take it back down off the jacks and then start thinking about the inside. Okay, it's not quite as simple as that because obviously we've still got water leaks and things like that to sort out from the, well, we'll have to see where it's coming from. But I've got everything I need to finish off the front end, so that's what we're going to do. Now, what I'm going to do is, I'm still welding, so I've got to finish all the welding off, but I think what I might do is I might have a go at this front panel, just because of noise really, because I'm going to have to do a lot of grinding here, and so I'm better off. It's quite early, it's about 8 o'clock or so, so I've got a good couple of hours of noise making that I can do. So I think what we might do is attempt to do this front panel. Now I'll be honest with you, if I wasn't videoing this and you weren't watching this, I'm kind of tempted just to whop a load of filler back in it, because it would last for a couple of years, wouldn't it? Well, maybe not a couple of years, but it would look good instantly. But we're not going to do that. We're going to cut it out. Okay? And to be fair, thinking what I'm going to do with it, it's probably going to end up looking more messy than it is at the minute, but you know. So first things first, I'm going to have a look up behind this, see what's actually sitting behind it inside the bus, and then I'm going to attack it with a grinder and cut this front section out. Okay, so I'll speak to you in a moment. Okay, right, we've got some good news and some bad news then. So we start with the bad news. Let's start with the good news. Good news is this bit of metal is solid as a rock, which is fantastic. The bad news is I've created myself so much more work than I needed to do that it's ridiculous. But let me just explain what was going on then. So my initial idea here was to chop out this section because I thought it was rotten, and chop out this section because it was rotten, and then just put a bit of angle in going between the 2 points. Fantastic. Okay, so I started on the job, started with my little new grinder that I bought, and there wasn't enough space to get the grinder in, so I ground this lip off here with a view to just welding it back on afterwards. And it gave me a bit more space to get in. However, I destroyed the freaking grinder. I only owned it for a day. Where is it? What is it? It's a silver line grinder. Yeah. 1 day old. Burnt the bloody thing out. Now I don't know whether it was just because it was cheap crap, but it was cheap. It was only like 30 odd quid or something like that. But I did overuse it, so I can't even send it back. Okay, so that's that. So what I did, what I should have done, I got the big guns out, and then I went and borrowed this one off my dad, and it's much better because I've got much more space to actually get in to where I need to go. Okay, so I've been grinding and grinding and grinding. All of the corrosion was basically off of the front panel, this one, and all of the corrosion down here was the same panel where it welds onto this bit of metal, which is great. So it doesn't mean that this doesn't need to be replaced at all. The downside is I started cutting the fucking thing out because I was going to replace it. Oh, I just swore. I didn't mean to swear. I do apologise. I'll take that back. So what I've got to do, I've got to re-weld all of the bit that I've cut. Okay. But you know, it's all a learning curve, isn't it? So I'm thinking, all I'm going to do then, I think I'm just going to put a bit of metal from there straight down and weld it along this bottom edge onto there. Okay? Okay, now I've got a couple of new sheets of metal over there. I think I'll probably do, I've got some different thicknesses now as well, but I think I'm going to do this in 1.2. That'll be the way to go. And I'm not going to put a bottom edge on it, because if I do that, it will make trying to weld around the corner a bloody nightmare. So I'm just going to try doing it flat and see if I can butt it up against it. Okay, so we'll do that. We'll try welding that on. It's not long enough. I'm going to have to do it in 2 or 3 bits going across the front there. And we'll see how neat a job we can make of it. At the same time, I'm going to have to re-weld this bit back onto there. And then when the whole thing is finished, I've got to weld this back together, where I chopped it off, and then weld the lip back onto it. Okay, so quite a lot of welding on the front here. But, you know, I've got some real good metal now. You know, I've got all of the rust out of it, which is awesome. And, yeah, so let's start putting it back together. I think what I'll do, I'll see if I can I'll cut a sliver to go across the front there, maybe in 2 bits. I think I've got enough to make it in 2 bits. Okay. See you in a minute. Bye. Oh, what I did forget to say then, so I've had to buy another grinder, and I bought myself a little Makita this time. So again, more money that I haven't got. However, I've had Makita stuff before, and it seems pretty good, and this is lovely. But what I'm going to be very, very careful about how much I actually use it. As in, if I'm using it a lot, I'll stop and give it a break, because I don't want to overheat another one. Okay. Let's cut a bit of metal. Check this out. We've got a front on the van. Yes, indeed. We've got to join this together and join that back on at some point or other. So I've welded up the cut that I made in it, and that's gone really well until I ran out of gas. Mother. But yeah, so that's good. So that's all welded up there, which is fine. So that was a repair job that I created myself. And my panel, oh yeah, my panel's on there. Look at that. Look at that. Okay, so that's on there nice and solid. I've had to do it in 2 bits, but that's not too much of an issue. I ran out of gas, so I need to go along the bottom bit there as well. And then what we're going to do, we're going to grind it all back, take the top spots off the welding, and then we'll lather a bit of filler on it, I think, just to sort of smooth the edges off. Okay, so things are moving on. I'm in a much better mood. I've got loads of stuff. I told you this the other day, didn't I? I've bought loads and loads of bits. Loads of bits. Yeah, and I've just spotted a box of Fosters. Tell you what, let's have one of them. Let's have one of them. And we're going to go and watch some Olympics. But look at that. Look at that. Awesome.